Hi, this is Keith Weaver with the Top Executive Strategy Podcast, where CEOs, COOs, and business owners share strategies for greater success. This is 6 questions in 9 minutes because the best strategies are concise business advice. And so we're going to get right to our guest today with question number 1. In a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Hi, I'm John Grizz, and I'm a former Los Alamos National Laboratory staff member, and I've spent the last 30 years commercializing technical innovations out of U.S., Russian, British, and now Chinese government laboratories. I've had kind of a neat career because I get to work with scientists and figure out how to solve real-world problems out in the marketplace and turn those solutions into products that people buy.
And sometimes turning that science into products and into business, that can be a little tricky, I imagine. So we look forward to hearing from you.
Okay.
So question number 2, what's the best thing about being a business leader?
I think, quite honestly, being a leader in business is an enormous responsibility. I also think it gets you a lot of freedom. Freedom to screw up, freedom to succeed. And, in my case, I spent about a third of my time learning new science and engineering and technology. So in my case, it's kind of the best of both worlds because I love learning new things, and I love leading teams and putting together new ideas. And as I say, being an entrepreneur, you get to work any 80 hours a week you want. So it's much more than just a job. In my case, it's an entire lifestyle.
So you get the freedom, but you also get paid to learn and continue to develop and grow yourself. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. It really is. It's not academic. It's academic learning, but not in an academic setting. And I've told more than one person, I probably have the equivalent of PhDs in 2 or 3 disciplines, but I'll never get the credit for it, which is fine.
All right. Question number 3. I hear from other leaders that their people strategy in their business can be far more complicated or time consuming than their business strategy. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I guess, business would be a lot easier if you didn't have to deal with, people. But I think some leaders also forget that the whole reason for human activity is to benefit other humans. If you think about it, from just basic sort of Maslow level 1 all the way up to self-actualization, it has an impact on other people. So I think you can read all the books you want on how to deal with people strategically or tactically. But that kind of acumen really only comes from experience. And, a lot of young entrepreneurs are missing that valuable experience of having led groups. Some people come into our organization and they're not even really sure how to lead a meeting or how to talk on the telephone effectively. And so what we try to do is mix more experienced people with younger folks. So there's that sort of constant mentoring and coaching that's going on. So that's kind of, how we deal with it. I mean, certainly, I think the best thing that a leader can do is have some empathy for their employees. And I am constantly trying to figure out what the impact of something I say or about to say or do is on the group. And I'm not always right. In fact, I think you probably tell people in the organization would sarcastically say I'm usually wrong, but at least I'm thinking about it.
And always seeking for that self-awareness, it sounds like, which is crucial. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's not difficult to stop and think about how a decision is going to impact the team, or what. Maybe there's no decision. Maybe the best thing to do is let the team handle it. So.
All right. So moving on to question number 4, what strategy would you like to share with other business leaders?
I think there's this enormous untapped opportunity in the U.S. specifically to compete on the global stage using innovations that have been developed at U.S. government laboratories. And it's not easy to get through the licensing part. If you think about famous inventions, a lot of drug discoveries or medical things that came out of large universities, it's that kind of equivalent, but it's at Department of Energy or Department of Defense labs, because while they have a specific mission, there's also either dual purpose for some invention or innovation, or they're kicking something around and they sort of accidentally invent something that's got applications in the commercial market. Now, there's two ways to look at product development. One is identify the problem in the marketplace and then go build a solution that meets customer expectations. That's sort of the innovation level. But with these labs, you almost have to sort of go in and say, what is this that they've invented? They did it for a reason. What did they invent this widget for, this algorithm for, this process for? And does it have applications in the commercial market? So it's much more of a push into the marketplace than a pull. And I think that's where people get confused because, there's way more inventions out there than there are products. But if you get the opportunity, and anybody can do this, you can go on websites at NASA or at Department of Energy and kind of poke around. And if you're knowledgeable in one or more specific sectors, you can say, oh, wow, they invented a method for recycling water on the International Space Station. Is that innovation something that could be useful in a broader sense in the commercial market? And then how do I figure out if it works, if it scales, what is it going to cost to take to the marketplace? And then you have to turn around and ask the customers, do sort of market discovery and go out and talk to 100 people and say, we've got a widget that'll solve this kind of particular problem. Is that a problem for you? And what are you currently using? What are your price expectations? And then let them dictate how that innovation hits the market. So it's kind of a meeting between, technical innovation and then market need. And it's not easy, but it sure is a lot of fun when you get it right.
Well, it sounds like you've made some big leaps going forward. And you're right, back in the day before cars, it wasn't like people were going around complaining saying we need, faster transportation or we need something like a car.
Right.
It took someone inventing it and then people realizing, oh, this is something I don't want to live without, kind of a thing. So.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Jobs famously said that, the market doesn't or the customer doesn't know what they want. Exactly. I think maybe, once in a generation, you get away with having a guy like that. The rest of us have to actually go talk to people and say, here's something I think may help you. How would you like it? What form would you like it? And what's the value of that innovation to you?
Well, great. All right. Question number 5. What other successful business owners, CEOs like yourself, would you like to acknowledge here or you think might be good on the podcast?
Well, there's two groups. One is my own management team. I'm sort of CEO because I guess nobody else wanted to do it or I took control. I mean, we're not really sure how I became CEO because all of the other 4 executives in the company have led companies, but they have a specific, specialty, finance or marketing or, manufacturing or something like that. So take a look at our website, at ixwater.com and go to management and you'll see, all 5 of us. My dog's in the office. That's one advice I would hand any leader. Get a dog and take him with you everywhere because, at least you have one person who's not mad at you. So take a look at our leadership team. And also there's a wonderful, public servant here in our area named Joni Inman, I-N-M-A-N. And Joni has managed cities. She's managed her own consulting business. She's been in and out of industry over her entire career. And she's definitely got a different perspective than I think most people do on leadership and how to manage people.
Oh, cool. Well, we'll see if she's available and maybe we can get her on the podcast as well.
I think she'd love to do it.
So last question, we have 40 seconds left, but kind of a final fun question. Tell me about your favorite past boss.
So my favorite boss of all time is a guy named Lloyd Knudsen. And Knudsen managed the Philmont Scout Ranch that I worked at in high school, college, and grad school in New Mexico. It's this huge 250 square mile retreat where, scouts can go camping and hiking and climbing and stuff. And the staff was like 1,000 people and they were seasonal. And you're only there 2.5 months. And he had this amazing way of making everybody on staff feel like that they mattered. and that everybody on the seasonal group was part of a broader team, which was to help educate and let 20,000 scouts have fun every summer. So he was an amazing leader, and I miss him. He passed away a few years ago. He was an amazing leader and manager.
He sounds like it. Well, it has been great having you on today. Before we leave, can you tell people how they can get a hold of you?
So I think there's two ways. One is to go to our website, which they'll put up here at ixwater.com. But the most concise explanation of what our company at Nine Water is doing is at startengine.com/ix-water. startengine.com/ix-water, because it's the official SEC approved, presentation of our company for our crowdfunding. And so it's very concise and very factual. And I think it's a really easy way to find out what we're doing. And you can contact me there by just clicking on the company. So.
Well, great. Again, it's been great having you on. And this is Keith Weaver with the Top Executive Strategy Podcast. And for more insights and to follow us, you can follow us at Weaver Business Coaching on LinkedIn or on and through your favorite podcast platform. And we wish you the best success.
Thanks, Keith. Appreciate it.